draft analysis for the draft league that I've been in for quite a while, but I've finally been inspired to start doing draft league videos by my friend Seth, who is also in the draft league. A link to his channel will be in the description. Go check him out. He's definitely got the knowledge for sure. And he's like I said, he's the one that's inspired me to do this. Now, today, first I'll go over the league itself. It's called the Quarantine Draft League. We started it like at the very beginning of all of the mess that's going on in the world right now. And now we're going on into season 3, I believe. And this is the first, well, backstory. Seth and I have been in a lot of draft leagues together. I inspired him to start doing YouTube, and he inspired me to start doing draft league videos. And here we are. So, this is the first draft league that he and I have been in together out of the numerous ones that we've done, that I got to go first in the draft order. That bearing in mind, I would also like to point out that we aren't doing just Galar Pokemon, we're doing the national decks for Generation 8. So every Pokemon is available, pretty much. There are a few bans. Tapu Lele was banned because she's just crazy. But and things like that. But going first, you have to set a precedent. And so the only thing I could do was draft the scariest Pokemon, in my opinion, and in a lot of people's opinions in the draft league format. I drafted Landorus Therian form. Why? The dude's insane. He gets access. He's super strong. Hidden Power Ice is gone now, so there's a lot less Pokemon that have an out to him. He's super fast. He gets access to Stealth Rocks, Earthquake, you name it. He's got it all. Now, he is a very strong Pokemon and can 6-0 somebody on his own. But I wanted to draft Pokemon in a way that he wouldn't have to. So, my next pick was Togekiss. I picked Togekiss, because I'm very, very familiar with using Togekiss in a draft league format. I've used it probably 4 times out of like the 10 or so leagues that I've been in. I love it. Serene Grace with Air Slash, Thunder Wave, you're just sitting there for days. You don't got to worry about anything. Togekiss is another Pokemon that is strong enough and tanky enough to handle its own by itself, but when it's paired with other good Pokemon, then you don't have to worry about anything. So that's why I chose Togekiss as my second Pokemon. My third choice was Cobalion. Now, I've never used Cobalion in a draft league format. I had never even really seen Cobalion in a draft league format before until last season. I played against Seth, I believe, in week 4, and he drafted Cobalion. I'm pretty sure it was one of his early draft picks. But he absolutely destroyed me. Like, killed 4 of my Pokemon just based off of his Cobalion antics alone. It has access to Stealth Rocks, it has access to Taunt. Taunt screwed me over. I sent out, I didn't send out a Grimmsnarl. I had Grimmsnarl out on the field. He came in with Cobalion. When I went to set up Reflect, and done. Gone. Couldn't use it. Taunt. Which brings me now to my 4th choice. The 4th Pokemon I picked was Quagsire. Now, you might be wondering, why Quagsire? Why so early? I thought to myself, I've got quite a few heavy hitters on the team already. Togekiss is a little more tanky, but he's still pretty... He can still be used pretty much as a special attacking force. So I needed some defense. So the entire 3rd round, I just grabbed nothing but defense. I grabbed Quagsire, and I grabbed Dusclops. Grab Quagsire, he's got the Unaware ability, and he's got Water Absorb. Both of which are great abilities. Unaware if you're not aware. Makes it to where if your opponent's Pokemon has stat changes, Quagsire isn't affected by it. So if your opponent's Pokemon sets up like 2 cotton guards and is just sitting there on the field just tanking things. Quagsires like, psh, Earthquake, psh, get out of here. Then he's got Water Absorb. Dracovish is still one of the most scary Pokemon in the game. I mean, you could put a Choice Scarf on him and send him out with Fishious Rend. Bye. He's knocking something out. It's insane. He gets I don't know the exact base power of it off the top of my head if he goes first. I think it starts out at like, I'm gonna look it up real quick. I'm on my computer, why not? Let's see. Fishious Rend. Alrighty. Alright, so Dracofish's Stab, Fishious Rend. Well, it boosts up to 170 base power if he uses the attack first. If he uses it first. Plus he gets Stab, which adds to the 170 by 1.5. I don't know if it's based off. It's a lot of numbers, but the graphic I'm looking at here right now, if you have a Choice Band Dracofish against a max defense Toxapex, which resists Fishious Rend, it 2-hit KOs Toxapex. That's insane. Toxapex is one of the bulkiest Pokemon. I was actually thinking about grabbing Toxapex, but he got snagged right before my pick came back. That's why I grabbed Quagsire instead. But anyways, on to the next mon was Dusclops. Dusclops is one of my favorite tanks to use. I haven't used him since my first draft league, which was, I believe, right around when Sun and Moon first came out, was when I did my first draft league. But Eviolite Dusclops just sits on the field. He just sits there. He takes hits. And then he can dish things out with like Hex, Will-O-Wisp, Curse. You can just sit there and manipulate the game with Dusclops. Be looking out for that in the future videos. Then next on the list was Amoonguss. Now, as you guys can see, I am a fan of bulk this season. Last season I didn't grab very many bulky Pokemon, and I didn't do great. I ended up like 7th out of 8. This season we have 16 different coaches. So, and trust me when I say going first amongst a group of 16 people and having to wait for it to snake back to you, you don't know if you're going to be able to get anything good when it comes back to you. The fact that I got the team that I did is insane. Nobody snagged or sniped any of the Pokemon I wanted, which was great. But back to Amoonguss. Amoonguss is a grass poison type Pokemon, which also has access to Regenerator, which is one of the best abilities, I believe, for a tanky Pokemon in the game. As a matter of fact, if you guys have been watching the Alpha Sapphire Heatlock, you'll know that my Ferrothorn has Regenerator, which is insane. Now, it also has the ability Effect Spore, which can be useful, but not nearly as useful as Regenerator. And it gets access to moves like Giga Drain, Clear Smog to take away any and all stat changes from your opponent's Pokemon. Rage Powder can be useful in some sticky situations. It's got Spore, it's got Toxic. It's designed to sit there and stall while creating a psyche in your opponent that they don't want to deal with. It also gets access to moves like Sludge Bomb, Solar Beam if you have like a Sun team, which I don't, but I mean if I did. It's got Grass Knot, it's got Swagger, which can be useful from time to time. Obviously it's got Substitute Protect, so you can do the Toxic Stall, Substitute Protect. What I would use is Substitute Protect, Toxic, and Giga Drain to get, health back, because I don't believe he gets access to Leech Seed, which is fine. Yeah, no Leech Seed. But, even Synthesis. You can just do Substitute Protect, Toxic, Synthesis. But I would do Giga Drain just to make sure you're also doing damage. it also gets worrisome. Like, it gets so many good moves. It's gonna sit there, it's gonna tank, and then when you switch it out, it gains HP back, and then you can put it back in and do more. There's nothing else you need to know. Yes, he's got an abysmal speed stat. Yes, his defenses aren't that great. But his HP is at 114 base, with a special attack stat of 85, which isn't great, but it's nothing to laugh at. So he's definitely going to be a powerful member on the team. There's many different uses for him. But that leads us to our next Pokemon that we have on the list, Blaziken. Now I was looking for a fire type, and there weren't very many left this late in the draft. And really and truthfully, fire types aren't that great in Draft League anyways. Like, there's very, very few that are, and most of them are paired with another typing that counteracts their fire type weaknesses, like Volcanion. He's got, fire or water type. It's just great. It's a good typing. But Volcanion obviously went very early. I didn't have enough points to snag him anyways. So I went with Blaziken. I went with Blaziken, because I've used him before. Blaziken was like the very first Pokemon I fell in love with in Gen 3. He's a great Pokemon. He's got a great moveset, both fighting and fire type moves. He also has access to Brave Bird, Swords Dance. He's a Glass Cannon, which is kind of scary, and we can't use Speed Boost in the Draft League. Speed Boost is banned for obvious reasons, just because it just makes the Pokemon broken. We also aren't using any Mega Evolution, so I can't use Mega Blaziken, but I feel like Blaziken's going to be pulling his own weight this season. Be on the lookout for him. Obviously, it'll depend on the matchup, who I'm going up against, whether or not I use him. But anyways, on to the next mon. We have Lucario. Now, when I was looking, after I drafted Blaziken, I was like, okay, I've got all my bases pretty much covered. Now I can draft for me, for Pokemon that I want to use. So I was like, I looked at the remaining list of Pokemon, and in one of the slots, I was like, okay, I have enough points for any Pokemon in this slot. Which one stands out to me? I started looking down the list, and I noticed Lucario was still available. I had no idea why. Lucario is such a good Pokemon. He gets access to Defiant. He gets access to Flash Cannon. He's good. He's a good Pokemon. A good mixed attacker. He can do either physical or special attack. Either way, he's great. I'm gonna look up his stats real quick so we can go over them. He also has Inner Focus. Alright, let's look at Lucario here. So base stats, he's got 70 HP, which is, his defenses aren't great. He is also a Glass Cannon. If he gets hit with a fighting type move or a fire type move, he's done. Plain and simple. Ground type move, same thing. But his speed and both of his attack stats are pretty decent. He's got a 90 base speed, which is pretty freaking fast. He's great speed tier. And his attack is 110 base and special attack 115 base. So he's got access also to both Swords Dance and Nasty Plot. So you can either SD, Close Combat, Earthquake, Meteor Mash, Extreme Speed. Any of those moves are great. Nasty Plot, he's got Flash Cannon, he's got Focus Blast, Aura Sphere, Dark Pulse. You just throw a Life Orb on him, give him one of his abilities, because all of his abilities are pretty great. You got Justified. I think I said Defiant, I meant Justified. But that's where his attack raises by 1 if he gets hit by a Dark type move. He's also got Inner Focus, which prevents flinching, and he's got Steadfast, which... Oh, I didn't even... Maybe this is new this year. Steadfast prevents flinching, and its speed is raised by 1 stage. I did not see... Oh, wait. That's Steadfast. Inner Focus prevents flinching and cannot be intimidated. So either one is great. Honestly, if you're using an attack increased version of Lucario, Inner Focus might be better than Steadfast. But I mean, speed is good all around, whereas it's just one of those things. He's got multiple uses. Moving on, The second to last Pokemon I drafted for my team was Kingdra. I realized I didn't have any dragon types, and Kingdra's got such a good dual typing. Like, yeah, he's really weak to Freeze Dry. 4 times weak to Freeze Dry. But I have answers for that in Lucario, Blaziken, and my last draft pick, as well as Cobalion. But I got Kingdra because I remember using Kingdra a long time ago in a draft league, with Sniper as his ability, and just destroying things. Set up a D-Dance and just start wrecking house. Like, he's just a good Pokemon. He's just good to have. He's also naturally bulky because he is a water type. Most water types are pretty naturally bulky, save for like Inteleon. But so that's why I drafted Kingdra. He's got some nice natural bulk. He can, you can really use him. You set up a focus energy and you're pretty much critting every turn. Which brings us to our last pick. I just picked my last pick. I had 60 points left, and there were tiers from 200 and then went down by 20s all the way down to 20. I had 60 points left from my last pick, and I was like, you know what? My favorite Pokemon is still available, and I've used him quite a bit in the past in draft leagues. I snagged Electivire. Now, I know Electivire is not the best Pokemon in the world. Neither of his abilities are that great, but he does have access to being a great mixed attacker. I used to run him as a naive nature, speed up, minus I think special defense, I believe is naive. And then I would run like Earthquake, Thunderbolt, Volt Switch, and Flamethrower. He's also got a really good move pool. He can hit a lot of things for super effective damage, so I'd run an Expert Belt on him a lot of the time. And he would wreck house. I mean, yeah, he's not the fastest, he's not the strongest, but he is a good overall Pokemon and a great pick for our team. Rounding out the team, hitting all the ticks that I needed to hit. I've got a great Fire, Water, Grass core with Blaziken, Amoonguss, Kingdra, and Quagsire. I've got Fairy Dragon Steel, Togekiss, Cobalion, and Kingdra. I've got 2 fighting types, 2 steel types actually with Lucario as well. An electric type, a ground flying type. And you know what? I feel like we are the team to beat this season. And that's right, coaches. I'm calling you out. Be on the lookout for my team. We're coming for you. With that, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.